With Adam Pelech day to day, we'll discuss the Islanders' options on defense until he's able to return. The Fisherman jerseys will make their debut this Saturday, and we preview both of this weekend's games, Friday against the Devils, Saturday against the Hurricanes. We've got all that and a lot more on this episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome, everybody, to the Friday or weekend edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast. Gil Martin, so glad you could be a part of the Locked On Islanders family today, and thank you for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms, and that does include YouTube. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. We have got a lot to discuss on today's show, but first, if there's something Islanders related on your mind, if you have a question, a comment about something we've talked about on the show, or maybe a topic you'd like us to discuss during a future episode, feel free to email us. The email address, lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we are happy to mention you on the show when we discuss whatever it is that's on your mind. You could also follow the show on Twitter at Locked On Isles, and you could follow me, Gil Martin, on Twitter at Ice Wars, NYRVSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all the latest Islanders news, notes, and happenings, and I am live tweeting during nearly every Islanders home and road game. So join me, please, for instant insight and analysis. And it's always great to interact with Islanders fans, game time or anytime. So, at practice on Thursday, the Islanders make an official announcement. Adam Pelech was not on the ice at practice on Thursday. And Lane Lambert announcing that it's an upper body injury and he's day-to-day. No official comment on his availability for tonight's game against the Devils and then tomorrow's game at home against the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, in practice, the Islanders just plugged in Robin Salo alongside Ryan Pulock as, I guess you want to call it the top pair or the first pair of defensemen. That is basically the situation, and Lane Lambert said that Salo would be in the lineup as the next defenseman up if Adam Pelech is unable to go tonight. Now, the last time we've seen Salo play is October 20th. That's with the Islanders. He's played the AHL Islanders, the Bridgeport Islanders. He's played for 4 games for them since then. Some other good news, Cal Clutterbuck, a full participant at practice on Thursday. That's the first time that he has been in full practice with the team since November 29th, when he suffered an upper body injury against the Philadelphia Flyers. Again, according to Lane Lambert, the head coach, Clutterbuck is a game-time decision on Friday, so it is indeed possible that Cal Clutterbuck will be back in the lineup for the Islanders either Friday or Saturday, or it's possible he's still not back. But Clutterbuck looks to be close. Look, having Robin Salo practice with Ryan Pulock as the top pair, I'm not necessarily thrilled with that combination, but it is the option that is probably the least disruptive. What I'm concerned about with it, more than anything, is that, look, we all know Robin Salo. He is a better offensive defenseman right now at this stage in his career than a defensive defenseman. And you have the situation where somebody's got to take that spot. If you end up with Salo and Pulock as your top pair, I think you're going to see a little less offense from Ryan Pulock, as he is a little more concerned about covering up defensively for Robin Salo, and the unfamiliarity between those two players also may make Pulock a little more tentative as far as when to get involved in the offensive rush, how he plays defensively. All of these things could be affected. That being said, it's probably the best option. Now, another option would be to move Alexander Romanov, who is also playing the left side, move him up with Pulock, but their style is kind of, not necessarily the best match. Why? Well, Romanov will be more steady defensively. In fact, he doesn't give you a lot of offense. He's a shot blocker and a hitter more than an offensive defenseman. He's the only Islanders defenseman without a goal at this point in the season. So, that may free up a little more offense from Pulock, but the issue is skating. And Romanov is not a great skater, probably would be challenged to keep up with Pulock. Salo certainly wouldn't have that issue. The other possibility, I guess, is Sebastian Aho, but again, I don't know about the lack of experience there. And again, Aho, while he's better in his own zone this year and more even over the past 2 or 3 weeks than he has been in the past, not sure that he is the best option as far as, again, having Pulock be more concerned about covering for him and having to be more defensive oriented. And we all know how important having the defenseman joining the rush has been to the Islanders' offense, and obviously the potential loss of Adam Pelech could have a big effect on the Islanders' ability to create offense from the blue line when it comes to the next couple of games. Now, again, having no Adam Pelech for 1 game, 2 games, that's not good, but it's not the end of the world. I mean, injuries happen. The problem becomes, what do you do if this is more than a couple of games? What if this is a week or 2 weeks? What if, as we head into the more difficult part of this schedule, the Islanders all of a sudden, don't have Adam Pelech for a lot of time heading into that point in the schedule? That could really hurt this team in a lot of ways, both offensively and defensively. And it's something that, Lane Lambert is going to have to address. The old adage is in sports, it's next man up. But is Robin Salo or Samuel Bolduc, if they want to bring someone up from the AHL, or Alexander Romanov or Sebastian Aho, are those guys ready to be the next man up and fill the role that Adam Pelech has filled? It is going to be a challenge, but we'll see if the Islanders' defensemen are equal to the challenge, and we'll see how Lane Lambert adjusts to what will certainly be a challenging situation for this Islanders team. We have got a lot more to talk about on this episode of the show. Coming up, we'll preview both of this weekend's games, tonight at New Jersey, tomorrow at home against Carolina, where the Islanders will debut their reverse retro jerseys with the Fisherman logo. We'll talk about all that and a lot more coming up on this episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by your friends at BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your #1 source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from football to basketball, World Cup soccer, the NHL, and esports. We've got it all at betonline.net. And if you love sports podcasts, you can find those at BetOnline as well. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix. Again, 2 big games for the Islanders coming up this weekend. Use your expertise about the Isles and the NHL. Possibly that could earn you some extra money, so check out the odds at betonline.net. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts. And thanks for making Locked On Islanders your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the Locked On Sports Today podcast. From the games that matter the most to the biggest stories in sports, go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with local experts and insights only Locked On can provide. Locked On Sports Today, available on this app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. 2 games this weekend, and they will not be easy. First, tonight, Friday, Islanders visiting the first-place New Jersey Devils in Newark. That is a 7 o'clock Eastern Time start. The Devils, 21-4-1, just had their winning streak ended on December 1st by the Nashville Predators. But I'll tell you, this team has just been off the charts good this season. And you look at the numbers, and they tell you why. Goals for, 6th in the league, top 10. Goals against, 2nd in the league. Penalty kill, 5th in the league. The only weakness that you see on these statistical indicators, the power play, which is only 25th with a 20.7% success rate. The Devils right now are coming off a 3-0 shutout win over the Blackhawks in a game that was played on Tuesday, so they are going to have 3 days of rest before they face the Islanders. That leaves them free to go with any goalie they want to go with, whether it'll be Vitek Vanacek, who is playing outstanding, a 2.10 goals against, a .922 save percentage, a 12-2-1 record, or do they turn to the backup goalie right now, who is Akira Schmid, who has just been playing lights out, 5-0-0, a 1.42 goals against average, and a .949 save percentage. Yeah, it's only 4 starts. It's a small sample size. But boy, is this team getting some great goaltending. And the team defense in front of the goalies has been outstanding as well. This team is young. They are talented. Jack Hughes leading the way with 13 goals and 31 points. Nico Hischier, 11 goals, 27 points. Jesper Bratt, 10 goals, 28 points. The leading offensive defenseman, Dougie Hamilton, giving them outstanding production, including 9 power play points out of his 7 goals and 19 points in 26 games. This team is loaded right now. As we look at the lineup, Hischier centering Thomas Tatar and Jesper Bratt. That's the top line. Jack Hughes with Eric Huala to his left and Dawson Mercer to his right. Michael McLeod is the third line center with Miles Wood and Fabian Zetterlund flanking him. And then Jesper Boqvist is the center on the fourth line. Igor Sarangovich and Alexander Holtz are his wingers. On defense, Dougie Hamilton and Jonas Sigenthaler are the top pair. Ryan Graves and John Marino, the middle pair, and then Brendan Smith and Damon Severson are the third pair. The goalies, as I mentioned, Vanacek and Schmid. On the IR, Jonathan Bernier, Andre Palat, who was supposed to give them some veteran leadership, Mackenzie Blackwood, and Nathan Bastian is listed as day-to-day, so a better chance that he will return. Look, the first time these two teams met, the Devils really outplayed the Islanders, and the problem the Islanders had was keeping up with the Devils' speed and their mobility. This is a young, fast, dangerous team, and possibly not having Adam Pelech in the lineup this is the worst possible matchup against a speedy team like the Devils to not have one of your top pair defensemen. This is going to be a challenge for the Islanders. It's on the road, so the Devils will have the last change and try to get some favorable matchups on top of it. This team is going to have to clog up the neutral zone, play their style of hockey, and do it from the opening faceoff, or it's going to be a big challenge to try to defeat the New Jersey Devils. Now, Saturday, the Islanders return home. It's a 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time start against the Carolina Hurricane, the Canes, the second-place team right now in the division. Just 2 points ahead of the Islanders, although Carolina has a game in hand. They lost their last game in overtime, 4-3 to the Anaheim Ducks out in Anaheim, and that ended a rather successful 3-0-1 road trip and ended a 4-game winning streak, but they still have points in each of their last 5 games, and a lot of that has to do with some improved defense. So we're seeing more from Carolina offensively. They're starting to get more scoring, but they're still just 26th in the league in goals scored, but 7th in goals against. And right now, the goaltending duo of Pyotr Kochetkov and Antti Ranta has been really helping this team. Frederik Andersen remains injured, but Martin Necas leading the team with 28 points, 12 goals, 16 assists. Andrei Svechnikov, 15 goals. Sebastian Aho, no, not the Islanders' Sebastian Aho, 11 goals, 27 points. And Brent Burns, the former San Jose Shark All-Star, 19 points in 26 games and a help on the power play. Power play struggling. They're 27th in the league, the PK middle of the road at 16th. So special teams have been an issue for the Canes. The top line for Carolina, Sebastian Aho, Seth Jarvis, and Martin Necas. Jack Drury centers the second line with Svechnikov to his left and Teuvo Teravainen to his right. Jordan Stahl, third line center, Jordan Martinook and Jesper Fast on either side of him. And then Jesperi Kotkaniemi is the fourth line center. Jack Drury to his left, Stefan Nesson to his right. On defense, Jacob Slavin and Brent Burns, the top pair. Brady Shea and Brett Pesce are the second pair. And former Islander Calvin DeHaan and Jalen Chatfield are the last pair. Again, in goal, you have Kochetkov and Ranta available. On IR right now, Andre Cachet, Max Pacioretty, Frederik Andersen, and Jake Gardner. Now, the Islanders will be debuting their reverse retro jerseys with the Fisherman logo. They actually practiced in the pants for those jerseys on Thursday. So Saturday will be the first go-ahead with the reverse retro, and I honestly would really look forward to hearing your feedback as to whether or not you like those jerseys. I think they look better than the original Fisherman jerseys. I know the Fisherman jerseys have a complicated past for this team, but we'll see. We'll put up a poll after the game on Saturday so you can vote and give your opinions on the new reverse retro jersey. So check out the poll on our YouTube channel. We have got more to get to on this episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast. We have our Islanders birthday of the day, one of the trickier names in Islanders history. We've got that, plus some final thoughts about the tough schedule coming up for this team. All that and a lot more still to come on this episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast. Time now for our Islanders birthday of the day, and today is the 35th birthday of former Islanders winger Cal Mollarat. Now, that's a tough name to say, especially if you see how it's spelled, but the former University of Minnesota Mankato star Made his NHL debut with the Islanders in 2014, 2015. Played 6 games for the Isles, had a goal and 2 points, 8 penalty minutes. And look, he had a long career in the ECHL, the AHL, and then played 1 game for the Pittsburgh Penguins after leaving the Islanders, and has been playing in Europe ever since, some time in Sweden, and mostly in Germany. He is still active and playing for the Krefeld Penguins in Germany right now. He has 6 goals and 26 points in 25 games. So he is a point-a-game guy in the German second division right now. 6 feet, 188 pounds. Not a guy who was afraid to be physical. Had over 100 penalty minutes, for example, for the Bridgeport, then Sound Tigers, during the 2014-2015 season. We go back and look at one of Cale Mulrat's better games as an Islander, February 24th, 2015, at the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum. The Arizona Coyotes are the visiting team. Mike Smith, the goalie, Chad Johnson in goal for the Isles. After a scoreless first period, Anders Lee gets the Isles on the board, his 20th from Travis Hamonic and Brock Nelson. 37 seconds into the period, 1-0 Isles. But with a little more than 4 minutes left in the second, Mark Arcabello scores his 12th for Arizona. Martin Erat and Dave Moss with the assists. After 2 periods, it's the Isles 1 and the Yotes 1. In the third, Matt Martin, his 8th from Nikolai Kulemin, and our Islanders' birthday of the day, Cale Mulrat. That was his first NHL point. Time of the goal, 3:18. Islanders up 2-1. Johnny Boychuk makes it 3-1. John Tavares and Ryan Strome with the assists at 4:15. And then 3 minutes and 1 second after the Boychuk goal, Cale Mulrat, our Islanders' birthday of the day, his first and so far only NHL goal. Colin McDonald and Nikolai Kulemin with the helpers. It was a rebound from the deep slot that got Mulrat the goal, and the Islanders were ahead 4-1. Brock Nelson adds to the lead with his 17th of the year. Josh Bailey, Colin McDonald the assist at 9:10. Islanders downing the Coyotes by a score of 5-1. 27 saves for Chad Johnson. Islanders outshoot the Coyotes 39-28. But for Cale Mulrat, our Islanders' birthday of the day, a goal, an assist, 2 points. He was a +2 and basically scored on his only shot on goal in the game. And by the way, these 2 points were the only 2 of his 7-game NHL career at this point. So happy 35th birthday to Cale Mulrat. He is our Islanders' birthday of the day. Now the season gets tough. The schedule, as we've talked about on the show, you got the Devils Friday, the Hurricanes Saturday. Then you go to Boston on the 13th, so that's Tuesday. Friday in Arizona, Saturday in Vegas, and then Monday in Colorado. That's not an easy stretch of games. And then you go to Madison Square Garden to play the Rangers on December 22nd. Home for Florida on the 23rd, and that takes us into the holiday break. These next series of games are going to be key. The Islanders have now lost 3 out of 4. They are now 4th place in the Metropolitan Division. They're a wild card team now after being comfortably in 2nd place for most of the early part of this season. This team, we're going to see a lot of what they are made of how good they really are. And again, I think the next 6 games will go a long way to telling us exactly how badly and how quickly Lou Lamoriello has to make a move to upgrade the offense on this team. We have all been in agreement that the Islanders need a sniper. And whether it's Patrick Kane or Besser or Tarasenko or somebody else who may or may not become available between now and the trade deadline, you go up in these next 6 games and you go, I want to see this team get at least 6 points. I want to see us at least break even against these top teams. And I think if they do that, you're looking at a team that can compete with anybody. But if they win, if they get 4 points or less in this stretch, I think the urgency to add that offensive piece that has been missing becomes even more urgent. And let's hope Lou Lamoriello has his pulse on this team and exactly where they're at. Thank you again for making Locked On Islanders your first listen. For your next listen, check out Locked On Sports Today. The biggest stories of the day, plus instant reactions, big game recaps, and the take of the day. It's available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. We will be back on Monday with our key takeaways from both of these games, the latest injury updates on Cal Clutterbuck, on Adam Pelech, and anybody else on this Islanders team. And of course, we will also preview the next game on the schedule in Boston. So a lot to come on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe. Enjoy the 2 games. And of course, let's go Islanders.